Hello, everyone. Welcome to LexTalk, World Talk Show presented by Click of the Creators. Today, we have Ms. Mohini Priya with us. Ms. Priya is an advocate on record at the Supreme Court of India and a trained mediator certified by the Mediation and Conciliation Projects Committee. She has done prominent work in the field of constitutional laws, medico legal, service laws, media laws, NDPS Act, and intellectual property. You must have seen her in a lot of television debates to raise social awareness and other legal interviews as well. It's a pleasure to have her on the show. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the lady herself. Hello, Ms. Priya. Welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
Thank you, Sagar, for the lovely introduction. I'm doing great. Feels great to be here and looking forward to the interview. Yeah.
Same here, ma'am, and thank you for getting some time out of a busy schedule. And for our viewers, I'm really sorry you guys have to bear with me. I won't be speaking too much. As you can sense, I guess I am in cold. And I tried my level best to cover things about Miss Priya, but I think it would be better if she can also fill the voids that I left in the discussion. So, ma'am, if you can sort of describe about your profile and how's the journey been for you as a lawyer?
You've pretty much described my profile. So as you said, I am an independent practitioner. I am an advocate on record at the Supreme Court of India and also a trained mediator. Apart from that, I am also involved in a lot of social causes associated with NGOs like Prayas, working for child rights, women rights, juvenile justice, POXO matters. I do a lot of pro bono cases for students, teachers, all over India. So yeah, my profile is very diverse that ways, and I do what I feel for, what I connect with. So
that's great, ma'am. I guess value creation is what's coming out of your profile. That's really beautiful. Now, because it's very diversified, I guess this is a difficult question of the session for you. If you can tell us about a legal issue that you worked upon, or rather a complex legal issue or an interesting one, and describe the complexity around it and tell us how you really approached it.
Okay, that's a tricky question, but a very interesting one. So recently, I would like to talk about one case that I have recently started doing. This is the challenge to the Surrogacy and the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act. We have filed a PIL in the Supreme Court of India on behalf of an IVF petitioners. So why this case is complex is because, I don't know if you know, but infertility is something that affects more than 27 million people in India itself. This fact is not very known. And in fact, infertility has been recognized as a disease by the WHO now. So these two acts, by bringing about a very restrictive regime, has restricted childless couples from availing of surrogacy, as well as IVF or intrauterine insemination, which is a part of the assisted reproductive technology. I'm sorry, I'm being very technical, but we have to. So the complexity here is at several levels. It's not just medical and legal. It is also social. It also pertains to the mindsets of people, because unfortunately, till today, infertility is still considered as a taboo in our society. So if we come to the Surrogacy Act brings about a very discriminatory and restrictive regime by excluding single men, single women who are not married, or it just includes divorcees. It excludes the entire LGBTQ community. It excludes live-in couples. They have all been given legal recognition by the Supreme Court today. So there is no rationale for leaving out these groups. Secondly, the Surrogacy Act completely bans commercial surrogacy, which in my opinion is counterproductive, as it will lead to underground markets in surrogacy. Third is the restrictions imposed on who can be a surrogate mother. So firstly, the definition in itself is very confusing, and it is misinterpreted as something like a surrogate mother has to be a family member or a blood relative, whereas the Act nowhere says so. But this misinterpretation is causing a lot of confusion and a lot of problems for childless couples. Secondly, there are age restrictions on who can be a surrogate mother. She has to be ever married between 25 to 35 years of age, have a child of her own. Plus, it has to be out of love and affection only. You cannot accept any monetary consideration for being a surrogate mother. So in light of these circumstances, I think it is almost impossible to find a surrogate mother, and they are almost bringing surrogacy to an end in our country. Again, coming to the other act, the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act, it is completely discriminatory against egg donors. So there is no compensation for egg donors. There are arbitrary age restrictions for egg donors. So in a sense, the government is trying to impose adoptions, but even adoption is not simple. Now, if you know, the adoption process take almost 2 to 3 years. So all these things are going to create great troubles for childless couples. So it is a much larger problem than it seems on the face of it. And this is the complexity. How I solved it, I think any complexity can be solved through systematic thinking. So I have been going step by step, reading a lot. I have been lucky to get assistance from doctors, IVF specialists all over the country, and professors even internationally. So they have been sharing their research papers. And this is some issue that I really connect with. So I'm very passionate about it. So then things automatically get easier. So yeah, it's a journey that has just begun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
That was really interesting. I mean, I must say, never heard of something like this. Rather, we see that sometimes a surrogate mother give birth to a child, and if he or she is not well, I mean, they're unwell or XYZ, parents
Yeah.
don't accept them, and that was also some things happening in the society. I'm not talking about the
Yeah.
Indian, but in general, from a global scale. So that is
No,
something that
I
I've
agree.
heard, but I've never heard this facts.
That is what the government was trying to regulate. But interestingly, no members of the scientific committee were a part of the drafting committee. So this entire bill is not just absurd, but is unscientific as well. So it is impossible to implement certain provisions in the act. So there are many flaws. These are just some of them. It's a very complex issue. Yeah.
I totally believe that, and who better to sort these things out like a lawyer yourself. All right, we'll come down to a few more lighter notes, but before that, I have another question. I mean, uh, being in Supreme Court, you see, I'm not sure whether there's a justice gap, and first of all, do you think that is there a justice gap in our legal system, and how would you rate the legal system drives towards encouraging access to justice for common people, let's say?
See, coming to the justice gap, I would like to talk about the pandemic, what the pandemic has done. So the pandemic has actually been a blessing in disguise. It has brought technology into law. So now I think till the year April 2022, almost 17 million cases were heard on virtual hearings. And now live streaming of Supreme Court has started. So the court has been taking positive moves, and this you could call like a very positive step in increasing access to justice to even rural areas, to remote areas. Where we are lagging is that making technology accessible to these places. That is where the real challenge is, and the Supreme Court is working towards that also. So we are very hopeful that the future will be virtual, and we'll be having paperless courts, and so things will be streamlined. So let's hope so.
Yeah, so what you're saying is there's an infrastructural issue, but the intent is there.
Intent is there, and we also need to create skilled lawyers, because even lawyers don't have technological skills. So it is completely new for them. So we need to create a mechanism where we can create training programs for them, so that they know about technology, how to use technology, because that's the way to be.
So thank you very much for the answers. It was really helpful. My next question was related to the social causes that you are really into. How important is it for lawyers to support social initiatives? And if you can talk about a few social causes that you work for.
That's a very good question. So I would like to start by saying that legal activism is one of the most lethal weapons of social change. We as lawyers are very blessed that we have the power to bring about changes in society. And where there is power, there is also a duty. So law, as we know, is a profession. It's not a business. And every profession has its ethics, has its duties and its obligations. So as legal professionals, we all have positive obligations to contribute to the society, and lawyers are in fact agents of social change. However, in order to bring about a substantial change, it is important to understand the problems and complexities of a situation. So it is important for lawyers to be associated with some NGOs that work with social causes. Like, for example, if I take my example, I am associated with many NGOs, the most prominent one being Prayas, which is aggressively working for child rights and juvenile rights, as I said earlier. So as the being a part of the NGO does not just, make you a social worker, but it also introduces to a lot of problems that is actually happening in the society at a very grassroots level, so that you can actually bring about a change. So I think that is one very important aspect, that every lawyer, whether they be working with a law firm or being a litigating lawyer, they all should take this up. And they should also take up certain matters pro bono, because it is important to, contribute to certain causes, because money comes eventually, but the satisfaction that one gets from rendering service to the community is unmatched. So it might not provide you with immense amount of money in the beginning, but it will really bring about a change in the way you look at life, look at yourself. So I think that is very important for a lawyer to take part in social causes. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the first answer that you gave, and it reflected entirely about the value creation aspect of it, and I guess that's where you're coming from. I also have another interesting question, rather I should say. Is it more challenging for a woman to make a place for her in the legal profession? I mean, I'm not sure. Generally, people take it offensive, but I guess after talking to a lot of female lawyers, especially, I
Yeah.
guess fact remains fact. And have you faced any discrimination in your career by virtue of being a woman? If you can be open about it and just
Yeah, see,
very
as a
candid.
matter of fact, see, legal professionals are part of the society. And there is no denying the fact that Indian society is still very male dominated. And that mindset is sometimes reflected in the profession as well, be it the bar or the bench. So yes, there is an initial hiccup. Women are not taken very seriously initially. They are paid less than their male counterparts. It's a reality in the legal profession. But at the same time, it is about how badly you want something in life. So apart from the initial hiccup, I think if you prove your mettle, then the gender does not really make a difference. So after a certain point, I think that becomes immaterial. And it is really about your own passion, your own path. If we talk about me, I am a mother, so I have a family to look after. As with many other women, they are mostly juggling between home and work. So it gets very difficult sometimes to prioritize one over the other. That actually sometimes work against them also, because people think that women are not serious about their profession, but that's not the case, because it is very, very difficult for them. It is more difficult for them, I think, than the male counterparts. As far as my personal experiences are concerned, I think I have been very lucky in that aspect. I have not had any such bad experiences in my life by virtue of being a woman. In fact, I have been given a lot of respect, a lot of consideration for what I am. And I am thankful to all the people who helped me in my journey. So yes, I would say mine has been a good journey, and I have chosen my path. I don't compare myself to other people. So, I am just walking my path. So it's really not important for me that who's doing better than me. Yeah. There's really no age for success, I believe. Yeah.
It's wonderful to hear them. I guess because a lot of young viewers hear us out, of course, coming from both the genders. Success. I mean, people have different definitions for success, but for you, what is your success mantra?
Success mantra, I don't think there's any fixed mantra for success. I think it's a very subjective term. For different people, success means different things. For some, it could be money. For some, it could be power. Some, it could be recognition. Also, there is, like I just said, there is no fixed age for success. Some are late starters. So it's very difficult to define success and have a mantra for success. Also, I feel there is no such thing as failure. I might sound very philosophical here, but what we call failure is just, life trying to move us in a different direction, which could be our true calling. So it is inevitable to fall, but if you fall forward is what I believe. Keep moving, be consistent, be perseverant, and the biggest achievement, the biggest success in life is to never give up. So yeah, never give up could be the success mantra that I would like to.
A lot of nuggets that we can take, but what I am taking out of this session, I believe, I'm not sure what's coming next, but till now I'm taking fall. If you want to fall forward. That's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah.
This has been a great session, Ms. Priya, so far. We've not just talked about you, but your take on different aspects of legal fraternity and society overall.
Yeah.
A lot of young viewers witness our session. And time management, I guess, is an issue with the young profession. And because time is money in any profession, time investors money, I would say, in any profession.
Yes.
And in legal, it's most of all.
Correct.
How do you ensure to make the best of your time as a lawyer?
See, we all have 24 hours in a day. So what we make of this 24 hours is what makes us as a person. So time management is one of the most important skills that any professional should have. More importantly, the legal professionals, and it is also one of the most difficult ones to master. Because as a lawyer, we are always juggling between multiple tasks. There are, if you're like I'm a litigator, so you have time to spend in court. That takes up a lot of your time, really. Then you have your desk work, you have phone calls, you have emails to cater to, you have conferences. With so many things, if you are not efficiently managing your time, it may lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. So what I really try to do is, first of all, when I'm at work, I try to declutter my mind. When at work, only think about work. You know, uh, block out some uninterrupted time away from your smartphones, away from messages, text, social media, to focus entirely on your work, because focus brings out the best in you. We all know that. For lawyer, it is very important. So for that, some uninterrupted time is needed. Also, it is very helpful to prepare a to-do list for the next day. It helps you work in a systematic way, plan out your day. These are small things, but it really manages your time very efficiently in a day. Another thing that I usually do is eat the frog. Instead of procrastinating, do the thing that you find the most boring first. So that is done with. So that is another advice I would like to give to young lawyers. And the most important advice is learn to work smart rather than work hard, because a lot of people can work hard, but smart working is something that is the need of the hour. Learn what to spend your time on and what to delegate. That is a very important skill that you will learn later on in your life, but it will go a long way. So these are certain skills that I think lawyers should try to master upon to gain
I
efficiency.
guess, well, I guess these are very wise words coming from a very wise lady. Everyone should take notes of this. And this has been a great session, Ms. Priya. As I said earlier, a lot of nuggets to take out of the session and of your experience. I
Thank
hope
you.
you also enjoyed it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly
Thank you,
enjoyed.
Ms. Priya. That was really great coming from you, and we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on
Same here.
some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Ms. Priya, I want you to like this video, to share this video, and click on that red button to subscribe to Click Away Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming in from legal industry leaders like Ms. Mohini Priya. This was Sagar for Let's Talk World signing off.